Hey, this is Von Diesel, and I'm bringing you another Intel Insights. This one is a Directive 51, which is Captain Benitez telling the JTF and everyone else involved uh, what Shade is, who the division is, who the agents are, what they're supposed to do, and what the JTF is expected to do. So we'll listen to these, and then I will kind of recap my thoughts afterwards, and we will go from there. See you then.
Okay, people, listen up. I'm getting a lot of questions about this Directive 51 thing and the people with the orange wristwatches and with all the other crap we got going on. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Well, today's your lucky day, because I'm going to give you the short version, and after this, no excuses. Right, so, first things first, yes, we got to do it. Directive 51 comes right off the president's desk, which means it's totally on the up and up. Someone invokes it, you listen. What does it say? It says a lot of things, but the part that matters is this. Certain people are now authorized to do whatever the hell it takes to clean up the big messes. Nuclear, biological, chemical attacks, pandemics, giant monsters, that sort of thing. As you might have guessed, their current situation qualifies. They're called the Division, and they're being activated as we speak. How do you know who they are? Look for those damn orange circles. You see the glow, then you'll know. Who are these people? According to Directive 51, they're sleeper agents recruited from the civilian population to be activated only when the shit well and truly hits the fan, which, if you ask me, describes things pretty good. They're not military, they're not SEALs, they're not secret agents, they're people, coming from the people to help the people. They've been trained to maintain order and public safety in domestic environments under extreme circumstances, so people like us are able to do what we do best. They could be anyone. Your neighbor, your dentist, your wife, you name it. All that matters was that someone thought they could do the job when things went to shit. And when they got the call, they dropped whatever they were doing and they hit the streets, because that's the kind of people they are. And yeah, I'm about as happy about this as you are. Somebody in D.C., called the Strategic Homeland Division, didn't have a lot of faith in people like us. Then again, you look around, maybe planning for something like this was the right idea. Anyway, you meet a division agent, you offer them any and every bit of aid you can, because they're the ones who are supposed to help us get out of this mess. Look, I know we've been busting our butts. All of us. Firemen, cops, animal control, you name it. The whole joint task force has been doing a hell of a job. But sometimes, you gotta call the cavalry. Crisis gets too big. There's just not enough of us to go around. The city needs more than we can give. So, you want the formal language? Here it is. Effective immediately, we will be liaising with the division. Our ops will be run jointly. We will have some autonomy on strategy and implementation, but division agents will have the ultimate authority if it comes to that. Hopefully it won't. You're in the field, you don't need to wait for some division honcho to tell you to pull the trigger. Now I know the next question you're going to ask, because a ton of you have already asked it, which is what happens to them when this is all over? I know you're worried that maybe we get through this thing and these division types are going to be running things from then on. The good news is you can relax. According to the directive, once the immediate crisis passes, they're deactivated and they go to hell home. They're not taking over New York, they're not replacing us. They're here to do a job and get the fuck out. Because they got lives and families they want to get back to. But right now, worrying about what happens when we beat this thing is pissing into the wind. We gotta beat it first. And we're gonna need these division types' help to do it. So, the first wave of agents has been activated, and I know some of you have seen them in the field. How many are coming? I got no idea. How many waves? Same thing. As many as they got, I hope. But it's not up to me. You are encouraged to talk to them, get to know them, and most of all, find a way to work with them. Build a relationship. They may be feds, but they're also New Yorkers. We're all in this together. Where does this Directive 51 thing leave us? Doing our damn jobs. You're still gonna be on the streets. You're gonna be helping people. You're gonna be doing the same thing you've been doing. In the ops centers, people like me will be playing advisory roles. We're gonna fall under the Vision Authority, but if that's what it takes... Look, we've been through this before. 9/11, Sandy. Fed stepped in because we needed them. Things get bad enough, that's what happens. We don't have to love it, but we do have to do it. Some of you might be old enough to remember the old Dark Winter exercise when the feds tried to simulate what something like this would look like. Turns out they predicted this shit show pretty accurately. That's what got Directive 51 written in the first place. Now we get to live with it.
So what's interesting about this one is, obviously it's Benitez, who's a character that we get to know during the single player, talking about things that we're well aware of, right? And it's talking about who the division agents are, why they're there, why they're allowed to be there, all that stuff. Really, at the end of the day, what I think is most interesting is at the end, when he talks about Dark Winter. Dark Winter was an actual exercise by the United States government, I believe in Oklahoma City, where they basically simulated a similar attack or outbreak as what happens in the game The Division, where a smallpox-like virus gets out, and they had a bunch of judges and other people in authority play as the president, vice president, secretary of state, all the various high-level government positions, and basically look at and decide how to handle it in real time. Long story short, it went exceptionally bad. The government was shown to be too bureaucratic. The response was too slow. The people involved didn't communicate well. The biggest thing they found was that between state, fed, and local government, the communication was too awful to appropriately respond. You would hope, that since then they've tried to increase those things, but as we know, that just because it failed doesn't necessarily mean that it's gotten better. What it also showed was that during the exercise, they basically wanted to cordon off certain areas and give up on them. And when you read through some of the information about it, it basically sounds like the Dark Zone. So, if you know this game well and you read about that exercise, you definitely find that the whole idea of just walling off an area and giving up on it isn't exactly out of the realm of possibility, and very well may be. And one conclusion I saw from the study and the exercise was that they just very well may need to go to a draconian solution. That may sound familiar from the Hudson mission, where you may just have to realize that millions of people are going to have to die to save many, many more millions. And if that means cutting people off, quarantining them, and letting it just die out, like it or not, sometimes many matters more than a few. And on a very large scale, many could be millions of people. And this game's an interesting thing. The one last thing I want to point out about this set is the towards the middle, he says, well, what happens when this is over? Well, they just go home. So something I think is really interesting for the long term of this game will be is if that's really the case. If the division agents do just go home, what happens if this all does end and everything gets figured out, but Aaron Keener's still out there? Other rogue agents, even the good agents, have been given a lot of power, and people often don't like to give up power once they have it. You very well may know from your own job that you may have a coworker who is, as cool and humble as could be, and then they get that manager position and they turn into a nightmare because some people don't handle power well. And, who's to say that there won't be some agents with that same issue? So I think this one's really interesting because it paints a very rosy picture of the agents and what they're supposed to do, and Benitez trying to calm everyone as they see these high-tech people rolling in and beasting on everything. Because I'm sure some of these JTF see these single solo agents rolling through entire battalions of enemies and wonder, what if they decide to turn that against us. So this one's really interesting. The rest of these and the series are really cool, and we'll even be moving on to some of the incident reports and stuff like that as well. I'm also making a few other videos. I'm actually working on around 6 scripts right now for Division 2 videos, and I'm trying to step up the quality a bit, and try maybe get a few more subs, a few more viewers in here, and we can enjoy some of this lore talk until the Division 2 comes out. So until then, you guys know where to find me. Links are in the description. Do what you do. I appreciate your time, and until next time, this was Bond Diesel.